Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to be here this morning. I want to first of all thank Stan and Ken for standing in for me. Always great to have them on there. They're really good stuff, and I'm glad to be back, though. I always enjoy doing the show for you folks, and we're going to move on with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. The high today is 77, low tonight 69, and that water temperature has just been fascinating this year. I know you think I'll probably get too carried away with it, but this morning is 72 degrees, folks, and what's fascinating, and in years past on all the programs, I've looked on my notes and all, we always talked about, we got to, talking about that Spanish run, they're going to be here the third fog in March, but really when the temperature hits 66 or 68, especially 68, well, it was always a gradual climb. If you remember, it'd be like 58 and 61 and 62 and 64, really slow, like 4 or 5 days, and then 4 or 5. But anyway, this spring it went up like that. It was fascinating. That's the fastest. I've been doing the show 12 years, and that's the fastest it's ever gone up. And I'm going to talk later on. I'm going to give you a little midweek fishing report, and we're going to talk about what has happened as a result of that. But let's move on now with our river readings brought to us by Sandhill Seafood up on Highway 77. Good folks up there and good food up there. We're looking at the Apalachicola, Bluntstown is at 7.8, and it's just flat line right there. It had a lot of movement on it, so it's just flat. It looks like we're going in for the weekend. I know a lot of folks are going Bill are going to be on a houseboat, and they're going to be catfishing with some buddies, and they're going to have a river that's just going to be not dropping or not going up. All right, now let's look at the Choctaw at Caryville. It's at 8.1, and it's going up for the weekend. It's going to be rising. It's going to be really coming in from that rain we've had up there in the lower part of Alabama, and it's going to be moving. So it'll be going fast. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. And we're looking at a low tide at 5:46 and a high tide at 8:25. The marine forecast be coming out of east-southeast at about 7 to 10. It's going to be, now they've got some rain forecast coming through, so we'll see what happens on that. I don't know if it'll be tonight or tomorrow, but it won't be a lot of it, okay? Take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We got some pictures we're going to get caught up on, and we're going to start off with this one. I think this means a lot right here. Stress is caused by not camping enough. And what's cool is I looked at that tent, those old tents like that, they don't make them much like that anymore. That's an old picture of a camp and all that. We used to have one about that size. When both my kids were in diapers, that's the size tent we camped out in at all kind of places. Both kids, we'll never forget that one. All right, let's get some fishing pictures up on Lake Seminole. Check this out. This is Kenny French, and he and Wilbur Miller went up there catfishing with jugs, and they caught over 100 pounds. Now that is some big catfish right there. Good job, Kenny and Wilbur, Brandon Wilbur. I just want to show you. You don't have to read all this. I just want to show you. This was at a bass tournament. I really pay attention to the right column over here. These are in a Junior Bass Masters when they had a tournament. These are the schools. I just want you to scroll down and see where different schools. I don't see any Bay County schools, Jackson County schools. But now Columbia High, that's Lake City, and we're just Sebring, that's in Central Florida. Leon High School, Volusia, that's Daytona Beach. They fishing up here at Lake Talcott now. Let's see, Quincy, of course, Quincy Junior Bassmaster. Monroe, that's from Quincy, Gaston County. Childs. Look at all those kids from Childs. That's in Tallahassee. Like I say, Columbia is Lake City, and it goes on down Plant City. That's around outside of Tampa. And the point I wanted to make by you looking at Leon County at the bottom, I just wanted you to realize there are a lot of high schools now with these bass fishing teams, and they're competing in these tournaments. The state tournaments coming up in Lake Okeechobee. Have those boys on. What would be wonderful is that you encourage your school and your community to put together a bass fishing team. I guarantee you, in every school in Florida, especially in the Florida Panhandle, there's some boys and girls that will love doing this, and it doesn't cost that much, and what a great, if they're not running track in the springtime or playing baseball, there's only a handful of kids do that. There's a lot of other kids who are not doing anything, so get them involved into that. That's fun and enjoyable. All right, here's Mexico Beach Pier. Mark Stafford Caught one of the first pompanos off there. Good job, Mark. He caught 3. He caught some more later, but the Mexico Beach Pier is catching them. Okay, William Jones, walking in the woods, 9 rattles and a button. And they're coming out. That is a nice size rattlesnake. If that snake is in your path and all and dangerous, that's what happens. Tom Gurley, our resident photographer. And to me, I want to talk about this. Wood ducks, they're the single most beautiful bird of all to me. I know there's a lot of flamingos and all that, but nothing more beautiful than a drake wood duck, the male species there. I mean, look at the coloration on it. And you can see, that's at the state park. Good picture by Tom Gurley. Okay. We got the Bass Yak on March the 10th up on Lake Seminole, a bass fishing tournament. This is cool. It's going to be the Booster Club Landing, which is on the east side of the lake. And so you go online to find out. I try to find more information on it. It's going to be a Booster safe flight to 3:30 be the weigh-in for bass fishermen off of the Yak. Okay, moving on here, Panama City Fishing had this Kevin right at the pier. Daniel Lopez and a blackfin tuna on the city pier. I'd gotten word. In fact, Scott Lindsay told me. He called me and said they were catching last week. They were catching some blackfin tuna off of the Fort Walton Beach Pier. He said they were hitting them strong. And Scott's like me. He's got and a lot of people tell him things what's going on. And sure enough, I said when he told me, I said well, it's only a matter of time for to catch them off Panama City Beach Pier. And sure enough, this is they caught some blackfin tuna. Okay. Rick Beatenholtz. This is Rick graduated and went to school with me from kindergarten, well actually first grade through 12th grade. Rick Beatenholtz up there fishing on Lake Seminole. Rick is a good fisherman. All right. Good to see him still fishing. Hunter Safety Course coming up. This is put on by the Longbeard Group. This is up in, let's see, where is this? Anyway, it's here locally. I know that. It's free. Oh, here it is, free, open. It's going to be March the 8th and March the 10th. It's free, and it's a hunter safety course. National Wild Turkey Federation. I want to say up here in Jackson County. I don't see on there where it's, but anyways, it's here. Oh, here it is, bottom right-hand corner, Chipotle Longbeards. Okay, so contact them. But a hunter safety course, Chipotle Longbeards. How about Anita Gilbert, wife of Ken Gilbert? Anita called that is a nice bass. Anita, I know that's a lot bigger than Ken's. But thank you for sending me that picture. Okay. Here, now listen, I'm going to read this out. This is some tackle for sale. And if you know anything about tackle, when you see the word Penn Senator, you know you're talking about some top of the line, as simple as that. You got a 6-aught Penn Senator, a 4-aught, 3-aught, a Penn 350, a Penn 309. So you can see there's 8 different rod and reels and all that. Okay, and I'm going to show you the picture. I'm going to come back and show you how to contact the person. Here's a picture right here. Look at it, okay? You see that's a lot of fishing. That's for bottom fishing, for trolling. And I'll tell you who owns this. This is Billy Joe Newsom. A lot of y'all know Billy, okay? And he wants to sell the whole package. He don't want to pick them apart. And here's Billy's number right in the center, 832-2617. $450 for that whole package. That, if you know anything about tackle, you know what a deal that is right there. Look at those Penn Senators. That's top of the line. You're not going to get a better deal than that. But call Billy Joe Newsom right there. Okay, good set of. That's a good buy. In fact, here's a picture of that Penn Senator. That's a quality, a top of the line reel. Okay, and we'll end on this one. Warm weather is coming, and so are these people. If you had a boat ramp, you know what we're talking about. All right, that's enough of that. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, folks. So we're going to do something now. Really, it's not a little outdoor adventure, but it's just something to do with life in general, and outdoor people enjoy this kind of stuff. And several back 3 years ago, my middle granddaughter Ashley, and you've seen pictures of her. You've seen her on a nice gobbler. She killed a nice buck a year and a half ago up in Tennessee. Ashley's Whitney's little sister. She's a middle child. she and her friend, they had a history fair project, and love of history runs through our family. And she decided, or they decided, to do a history, a video, a presentation of the life of Billy Graham. This was 3 years ago. They were sixth graders, and they worked hours and hours on it. They didn't get any help from the parents. Although my daughter Wendy teaches history, she made them do all the work, and I can vouch for them spending hours and hours on it. Well, they did it, and they won the regional, and they went to the state, and we, of course, Grandpa and Grandma were going to go to state, so we watched it win a state competition. It was actually this year in Tallahassee instead of in Orlando. And in state competition, they ended up in the top 8 in the state of Florida on this presentation. And I'll talk about why they didn't win later, but these judges are subjective. But what I want to show you, that Walter, their dad, Walter Wood, who put it on YouTube when they first did. They got, I think, like 1,600 hits or looks at it. Then when Billy Graham passed away, it somehow got hooked up into YouTube, where a lot of people go on YouTube looking at Billy Graham's story, and this one got put in there. It's a 9-minute video, and it had, overnight, it had like 6,000, then all of a sudden it jumped to 21,000 views. And then I looked at it the other day, 2 days ago, it was like 43,000 views. It went 36, 43,000, and this morning it's like 61,000 views on YouTube, and it is a wonderful put together, and to look at it, you go to Woodrick Video. I'm going to show it to you.
Christ belongs to all people. He belongs to the whole world. His gospel is for everyone, whoever you are.
He's one of the great evangelists of our nation's history. His crusades are legendary. The size of his crowds were magnificent throughout the years because of the message and because of the messenger.
That's the beauty and the greatness and the thrill of God's love.
The kind of person that a person in my position wants to know.
Billy Graham is one of the world's most influential Christian leaders and evangelists in history, leaving a legacy of love and acceptance for millions of people to follow. From his beginnings as a traveling minister, preaching in tents at crusades, to meeting and advising world leaders across the globe, Billy Graham's ministry has lasted for 68 years. Billy was born on November 7, 1918 in Charlotte, North Carolina. He grew up during the hard times of the Great Depression on a dairy farm. Billy was the oldest of 4 children, which came with a lot of responsibility. His day started before the sun came up, and after a few hours of milking cows or helping his dad do other farm chores, he would attend school. After school, he would go back home and continue his farm work. This childhood gave an amazing work ethic to the young Billy Graham. Raised in a Christian home, Billy Graham was baptized at the age of 15. He attended many tent revivals and was inspired to become a preacher. Billy Graham says he felt a calling from God to do what it says in Mark 16:15. Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature.
I just felt God was speaking to me, and he said, I want to use you. And I said, Lord, I'll go where you want me to go, and I'll be what you want me to be. I'm yours.
Billy Graham became nationally known in 1949 after an 8-week crusade in Los Angeles, California. This was where Louis Zamperini, whose life was made famous in the recent movie Unbroken, recommitted his life to Christ.
Okay, we'll stop it there, and like I say, I want to encourage you to finish looking at that. It's an awesome video, and what it is, it's like I say, they did it together with the camera going this angle and that angle, and put it all together, but what a great legacy, of course, Billy Graham has left, and what a impression he made across the world, and especially here in America. To have been with that many presidents and all. Like I say, I know this is not outdoor stuff, but it's really part of our fiber in America, especially here in the Florida Panhandle, the faith and all that a lot of us have as outdoorsmen, and it sort of all blends together for me and for for my little granddaughter to do that in the 6th grade, and her little friend Emma Robinson, and do so well. And I always said they would have. At the state, they would have won first place in the state, but there were a group of judges, and one of the judges, I'll be honest with you, she was an atheist, and I didn't say anything else about that, but I knew what was going to happen. But they were tickled to get in the top 8 in the state. And but anyway, when you look it up, let me tell you what to do. Go to YouTube. Really, don't go to YouTube. Go to your search engine and put Billy Graham, and then put Woodrick, because Walter put that like in a family, the Woodrick family file. He's got like Little League stuff and all that, horse riding. And go to that one and get Billy Graham off that. Because if you go to YouTube and Billy Graham, there's like 40 of them. But like I say, this got 63,000 hits and it's done locally, and I'm just really, really proud of them. So I wanted to share that with you and for this segment, and it's really good. So if you have trouble getting it, like I say, go to search engine, go to Billy Graham, and then put Woodrick, and it'll go to that. And let's take a break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at our fishing game times today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers down in Port St. Joe. Our time, one time today, 11:44 to 1:44, smack dab in the middle of the day. Excellent time there. On tomorrow's show now, we have biologist, FWC biologist Chris Paxton, the fish biologist that's in charge of the whole region, like 16 counties. He'll be coming on the show tomorrow. We're talking about some of the projects they've been doing, and also the Deer Point Dam drawdown, and also what's going on down at Cape San Blas at Rish Park, and several of the lakes over in Walton County, what they're doing there. It's going to be some really neat stuff that he's got lined up to share with us. So be tuned in tomorrow. I want to give I wrote this down, I want to give like a midweek fishing report because things have happened. I don't want to wait till Friday to tell you about it. And one of the things, I wrote down some stuff I wanted to share with y'all. The spring's getting ready to take off. You know, we're talking about the water temperature and how it shot up that fast, and it's going to be a little bit early this year. Now, you know, the big stuff not in. When I say the big stuff, the big schools aren't in yet, but folks, they're catching pompano already in several places. I had an acquaintance I talked to over he works out of Tyndall, and he really moved in from up from another state and has watched me on the show, and I did basic things. He just went out with a single rod and a single rod and reel, a single hook with shrimp. I mean, that's fishing 101. That's how you get started. No double rigs, no 3 or 4 poles. And folks, he caught 3 pompano off Tyndall Beach, just boom, 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 just a couple of days ago. I wanted to share that with you because some of y'all may not want to wait till the weekend to go fishing. And you know, you saw the picture of Mexico Beach Pier. They're catching them at Tyndall Beach, and that's a good sign. And the State Park Pier has caught a couple, so that's early. So anyway, I want to write that down. The St. Joe Canal has been really productive. I'll talk about that, but the St. Joe Canal, and the best bait over there now is live shrimp this time of year. They had trouble getting shrimp a little while back, but the shrimp supply is back up. So live shrimp, or popping cork, or anywhere along that St. Joe Canal, and up into the intercoastal around the corner as you're coming out of the canal. Live shrimp is doing good on trout. Also talked about Mexico Beach Pier. I talked about that. And the blackfin tuna, of course, over at the pier. So I just want to give a quick midweek fishing report. Of course, as you know, we're right in the middle of sheephead, and I wanted to just talk a second about sheephead. And of course, first thing, I got a picture here. I want to just warn you, if you don't catch a lot of sheephead, here's a picture. See that gill plate by that guy's thumb? That is a very, very sharp gill plate. That will slice you like a razor blade, so be aware of that. I wanted a lot of folks, when you handle them, to get a hook out and all, a lot of us grab them there, but you want to be real careful. I wanted to show you that. And people want to say, why are they called a sheephead? Well, you look at those teeth right there. They look like, the teeth look like a sheep. I got a couple more pictures of the teeth and all. I mean, is that amazing? And you can see now, even the teeth in the back, how they can crush those crabs and all. They love, they'll, on those pilings, people say, how in the world they get stuff off the pilings? And what they're just scraping off those barnacles, and they'll just scrape them off and they'll bite them. It's real, and that's how they just crush them. And you can see. Also, be aware too, when you get them out of water, those dorsal fins are going to stick up, and they're sharp too. Oh, the sheephead now is a tough fish, and they don't like to be caught like that, so they're going to get very defensive. And again, here's another picture. A lot of times you'll hook them in the side. You want to get a hook out there, and the rig, monofilament or or monofilament leader, but you want to make sure that you don't get your finger inside of that. A lot of times the hook itself, that's how they're going to get hooked. They're slow biters, and you can see why they're slow. They're going to try to suck it on. What they're trying to do is suck that bait in, and then taste it, and then crush it up, and then that's why a lot of people lose sheephead, because they pull the hook out too fast. They don't realize that the sheephead is sort of crushing that bait and real slowly. Now the best bait again is a fiddler crab. A fiddler crab is the best bait. I've got a picture of one right here, and that's really blown up. You know, a fiddler crab is not near that big. You see why it's called a fiddler crab, with one big arm like that. And they can be caught. We don't have as many fiddler crabs as we used to, mainly because of development along the waterfront. But they're in the marsh areas, and they just, when you find them, they're like thousands, and they just go like a wave back and forth. They're fun to catch, and you take a kid out there to help you catch fiddler crabs, and you can just get a bucket, and you sort of herd them into a bucket or something, or some kind of container, ice chest. We just, and they're in the marsh area, and they're a lot of fun to catch, and what's so good, though, they're excellent bait for sheephead, and they're free bait, but you got to get to a marsh area that doesn't have a lot of development around it. And keep in mind, too, those fiddler crabs, if the ones you don't use, try to take them back and let them go in the same area. I've done that before, but they'll last overnight. But now you want to make sure that you've got them in an area that they'll drown if you put them in water. So you got to have, in the bottom of your bucket, you got to have sand, some wet sand, and don't have it filled up with water. Okay? So sheephead fishing, we're right in the middle of it, and it's doing really good. And you've seen the pictures of some I've already shown. Any kind of offshore, near-shore structure is good. The jetters are good. The bridge pilings are good. Any kind of structure this time of year. They're in the process of spawning in late February and early March. So be aware the sheephead is the #1 go-to fish for the guides this time of year, and it's fun to catch. And like I say, just keep the ones you're going to eat next day or two. And they're tough to clean, but they got some really good meat on them. Gonna wrap it up. Really enjoy doing the show. Make sure you're watching tomorrow, and then we've got a big forecast coming up on Friday to give away a lot of stuff too. So take care of yourself. Always enjoy the great outdoors. Do something good for your fellow man. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.